Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
He's Garrett Price.
How's it going?
It's going swell. We're talking running backs, the most fluid position in all of Dynasty Fantasy Football. But listen, you can't move guys, you can't trade guys if you don't know what's going on in that backfield. So we are kind of going to look at week one and kind of break down what we saw at week one and kind of see how these backfields look so far. Right, Garrett?
Yeah, there was a lot of questionable backfields coming into the week. Some of them we have a lot more clarity on after week one. Some of them we're even more confused than we were before the season started. So we really want to answer three questions in this show. We want to answer, is there a clear leader in the backfield? If so, how confident do we feel about said leader? And then three, is there a buy low player in the group? So that's kind of what we want to look at here. And let's start with the team that got the first snaps of the season, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
You and I talked about this a little bit.
We did.
I kind of want to talk about the main crowd here now with Matt as well. Kind of my feelings about this. I'm actually pulling the reins back. I would actually look to kind of talk about Bill Krosky-Merritt if I could afford to. This is only if I could afford to. Like, I would imagine most people didn't go into the season with Javonte on their list of, I'm a contender, I'm going to use this guy. To me, he's a perfect move candidate because I do think the answer to the question one is, do I think he's the guy? I do think he's the guy. Mm-hmm. But I do think that his...
How confident are you in that? Yeah.
His numbers
I think it's by default
are drastically overrated. A couple things here. I think Javonte's going to be... The Cowboys are obviously going to be playing from a negative game script with that defense all year long. All year long. And they're going to throw the football.
Yep.
And Javonte's numbers are drastically overflated. I think he benefited from... One, Jalen Carter getting ejected before the game started.
Of course.
Which is a major... He closes the middle of the game. They really took advantage of that, attacked the A and B gaps there consistently. But even when they did that, it wasn't like Javonte was overly effective even attacking those gaps.
3.6. Yep.
3.6 is correct. He was under 4 yards per carry in that field. Two, he was inflated with some of those touchdowns as well. He had a lot of red zone opportunity in here this week, and that's not like the norm, right? One of them was off that CeeDee Lamb pass interference call. So that... Right. It wasn't like, I'll say this in a positive note. Javonte looked like he had some of his burst back.
I was going to say, we see this a little bit differently, but yeah.
This is not me poo-pooing on Javonte. My point is, I think this week is a little bit more of a high for Javonte on the year. And some people, again, they might get really excited about, he's a starter there. He had a really good week. Cowboys, scoring a lot of points with the good receivers and Dak. Like, you might get a little bit more for Javonte what he's worth. Now, if I need Javonte, like, he's not somebody I'm trying to rush off my roster, right? Like, if I'm a contender, I was hoping, if Javonte could do something as a starter, I could really compete. If I need Javonte, he's my running back 3, I'm holding Javonte Williams. If he's my running back 4, I'm trying to get real frisky. Like, can I give Javonte and my first and get a big upgrade, right? Like, I'm using Javonte plus my 26th first to try and, like, drastically improve my either running back room, receiver room, anything I can. Tight end room, upgrade my quarterback. Can I pair Javonte with another quarterback? I just think a lot of what we saw was Fugazi from a fantasy football standpoint from production-wise, where it came. He wasn't overly efficient. I said the red zone, then be able to know Jalen Carter attack that those gaps in there. The addition of possibly activating a guy like Jaydon Blue onto that roster. He is the bell cow running back, and that does matter. But I do think this team is going to be playing from a lot from behind, and they're going to throw the ball a little bit more than they're going to like. And I think it's going to limit Javonte in that area. Because it's not like Javonte is like this big PPR running back, right? This pass catcher running back as well. So that
he was last year.
He has been. He's shown
fine.
the ability to be that. It is weird because obviously, to your guys' point, you guys kind of mentioned it. Javonte, he did look like he had more burst, which is it's a great sign for a player that Garrett and I specifically really like Garrett. Obviously
Favorite Williams.
is
Williams.
the favorite over there. I was kind of like the step down from that, but we both really liked him. And to see him kind of operate, I think, with a little bit more explosion again was a good sign. Was it as much as like a Breece Hall? No, I think Breece Hall kind of is back. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's back,
Yeah.
back. Gone.
But
I was on the same wavelength.
But Javonte did look better. So obviously you're always going to benefit if a fantastic defensive tackle is out of the game before the game even starts. But on the flip side of that, not every team has got that kind of player plugging up the middle. So,
And that was going to kind of be my point of this is like, they also had another first-round defensive tackle in Jordan Davis that was in the game. Yeah. So, I mean, they're just they always have a good front seven. They always have a good front seven. And I think all of this is depending on where your team is. I think he's the perfect, like, where is my team at type player? Because if you're not a contender, there's no reason to have Javonte Williams on your team.
Right.
He's a great sell candidate in that type of scenario. Get a mid to high end second, and it'd be a great day for you if you can get it. Well, it depends on the team and whatnot.
And Garrett, the flip my script was set. If I needed a third running back,
Right.
I'd be happy to pay a mid to late second for Javonte as well. But I'm going to like, this is no, from a dynasty standpoint, like it's just very short term for me.
So for sure, I do think it's short term. The thing that I want to paint the game in a slightly better light for me is, talking about the defense. It's a good defense. 2, I think he clearly separated himself from Miles Sanders, especially once that fumble happened. That kind of sealed the deal, where it's like, nope, it's going to be Javonte. He's going to be the guy. But you could tell that was already the direction they were trending. He got like the first 2 series by himself,
but then
then they started working him in.
Miles Sanders said that massive run, and you're like, uh-oh.
He needed to like unhook the trailer on that run, though. He did not look like he was like booming.
Yeah, dude, he got caught by he got
hawked.
Dude, he was like lethargic.
Yeah, so I don't think there's much there. But talking about the yards per carry, that also happens when you tend to get a lot of goal line carries in a game. Your yards per carry are going to drop because where are you going to go? Like, I can only get 1 yard. So that tends to happen if you have 15 carries and, 4 of them are inside the 5-yard line. There's not many yards to get. So that is going to pull your yards per carry down. So in ones that were outside the 5, he was more in the mid-4s type of range, which is what I think he can do. I don't think he's like a 5 yards per carry guy. Right. But I do think he could be in the 4s and be very, very solid in that, right? But he also, once again, similar to kind of what we said about Daniel Jones, he did what you would hope a guy would do when given that opportunity. There was nothing in his game where I said, oh, that was bad. Everything looked solid, and I think he's going to be a solid asset for this team. And I'm not as worried about a Jaydon Blue. I think Blue will be a part of the equation at some point, but right now they're still a team that thinks they can compete. I mean, they were right there in this game.
And with the coach coming out and basically saying, "Hey, we need more out of Blue for him to be active." Like, that's why he was not active. We need more consistency out of this guy. And that echoes kind of what was going on in the preseason early on when they basically said something similar. I can't remember what it was, but they needed to see more out of him then as well.
Any player in this group?
Blue would be the one, but he's not. I don't know how.
Like, are you willing to like buy him? Are you willing to throw him in, or is it like, I'm not really that interested? Like, there's other players that if I'm going to try to find a throw-in guy or something,
I might wait a couple weeks. Like if Jaydon Blue is inactive for the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'd be like, then you could start throwing in I wouldn't mind backing up Javonte for like the end of the year type of thing, and just to get that guy in case he comes in and like straightens out his act, and all of a sudden he's ripping off these big runs that Miles Sanders kind of had shown, but instead of having to unhitch a trailer, he doesn't have a trailer. He's just burning, what I mean? And then all of a sudden he kind of has a role in this offense. So that's how I would see that, and but I wouldn't jump on him right now.
I'm not overly interested in the Dallas Cowboys run game for the season. Even Javonte as in this role as the main feature running back, I still view him as like a low end running back too, not even a high end running back too. So for me, if we're gonna throw another mix into here, then it even waters it down a little bit more. Like I'm not interested in Jaydon Blue getting a couple big, carries, hoping for that one big explosive play.
I would think it's at Miles Sanders' expense if he gets in there.
I would agree with that.
And to be fair to Miles Sanders too, like one fumble is not end of the world as well.
No.
So,
but at his stage of his career, you don't get as many chances anymore.
Correct.
So we'll see what happens. Let's move on to Kansas City. This is one that we've kind of been talking about all off season, that as a group, we're not overly sold on Isaiah Pacheco.
He's my number one sell. I said this, if you want my number one sell player before the season starts, I think it's right before the bowl predictions, and my number one sell to take literally whatever you can get is Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, and Isaiah Pacheco didn't even have the team lead in rush attempts. It was actually the quarterback and Pat Mahomes, but he tied Kareem Hunt. They both only had 5 attempts in this game. But somebody asked me, when I put out my overall rankings for the season and I did my projections, I took a screenshot of, it was like the top 34 guys or something like that. And they're like, I don't see Isaiah Pacheco in there. And I was like, it's because he's at 37. Yeah. So, I thought that this was going to be the case where we do have Kareem Hunt actively involved in this. That was the reason they brought him back. And it didn't really show up in the stat sheet because when he was on the field, he didn't get any targets or handoffs, but there was also Brashard Smith that was on the field several times during the game. And so that's something that you would project as the season goes on, and they get more comfortable, that he might be more involved as well. So do you guys, I don't think there is a clear leader in this backfield at this point.
I think they want Isaiah Pacheco to be that guy.
I don't think so, dude.
Who else do they have? Who else are they gonna?
Then if they want him to be the guy, then why was Kareem Hunt in on all the short yardage when it was literally they didn't bring him in all when they needed when it was in they needed a yard or two. Pacheco got 0 snaps there. It was all Kareem Hunt. Inside the red zone, Kareem Hunt got 4 of those to Pacheco's 2. If they wanted him to be the guy, it'd be flip the script. I think, again, I kind of thought this is why I was out on Pacheco. Everything the Chiefs have been telling us, they kind of want to find something else besides Pacheco. And you mentioned, he's a 7th round pick. And I said, yes, for what Pacheco was, his draft stats and what we've got him, home run draft pick, right? Yeah. What a steal. But that story's over. All good stories come to an end. It is over. Once I heard that they aggressively went to go try and sign Josh Jacobs. This is before last year.
And they've had 2 seasons. I cannot believe that they have not done something these past 2 years. It's weird.
And that's why Matt's bold prediction was one of them was Brashard Smith. Again, you were looking for a sneaky buy. Right. I'm with you all in.
That's my sneaky buy.
If there's any value here whatsoever, it is Brashard Smith and Brashard Smith only. I don't want anything, which is crazy to say with Pat Mahomes. I don't want anything to do with this Kansas City offense until Rashee Rice comes back. I really don't. No. Travis Kelce, he scored a touchdown. Besides that, he looked old, right? The running backs are in a clear time.
If he didn't have a touchdown, it would have a
complete
dud. Pedestrian day.
The running backs are in a clear committee here with no upside whatsoever. Yeah. Besides Brashard Smith, who I'd be very interested in buying. You have Hollywood Brown as your number one receiver, seeing 50% of the targets going into this week. Who knows how it's going to pan out? We mentioned Jalen Royals last show. But for the running back room, man, I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah. Brashard Smith, he's the sneaky guy. He's the guy that I would want. I think they would have a guy, but it's just not materializing. I mean, we all know that Kareem Hunt has lost a step, and he's great at finding the end zone. Probably why he's getting goal line work and short
he's
yardage.
Good in short yardage.
He's good short yardage back. He's hoppy.
Yeah, exactly. But he doesn't have any
juice.
Yeah, long burst at all.
Right
at this point. So let's go to a one that had a much better week: the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Speaking of
juice. Travis Etienne, 16 carries, 143 yards. Didn't score on that long run, though.
But 71.
But he did have a 71-yard run. And Tank Bigsby just traded to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Not only they're so confident in him, they got rid of Tank Bigsby. That's how literally they looked at the Etienne, they're like, yeah, we don't need you, Tank. You're good. We have Bayshall too and wing. We don't need you to touch his carries as well. And this, couple of things here. I want to kind of pump the brakes on myself a little bit here. I did say multiple times throughout the summer
Travis is the buy you want.
That I was in on Travis Etienne. He was one of the best values at running back all summer long.
Yep.
You guys were pumping the brakes on me, and you said you didn't believe it, and I was in. That being said, he did look fantastic. He looked like 2 years ago, Travis Etienne, where he finished as running back 3. He dominated the running back carries. Two things that I'm going to be cautious of here that I'm going to say. I still believe in what my take early on, where I thought Travis Etienne was a lock to be like a top 24, and I think my bold take was a top 18 fantasy football running back. I still am going to stand by the top 18 fantasy football running back for Travis Etienne. But that being said, one, he did it versus the Carolina Panthers.
It's a big part of it.
They're a bottom 5 run defense team. Two, we've seen this out of Travis Etienne before. He is always a hot start, and then he gets a little banged up and he fades a little bit towards the end of the year. We've seen that almost every single year of his career.
Would you be selling high then, Rich? If you have him, which I know you do in some scenarios.
Yeah, somebody offered me a second yesterday for him.
Somebody sent me a trade offer where they wanted my first. I was like, that's hilarious. But
somebody offered me a second.
Yeah. I'm assuming you didn't take it?
Oh, I couldn't hit no fast enough.
All right. So if obviously one's laughable and you couldn't hit no fast enough on a 2, what is he worth?
He more likely than not, he's a pack. He's probably going to have to be involved in a package. But if you're going straight up, he's not worth a second. And if anything,
you're saying he's worth more than a second.
Yeah,
more than a second.
Sure. I mean, he's only 26 years old. Right?
What if it was from a team where it's like, hey, this is the worst team in the league? No,
because what's going to happen?
I would. If I think I'm getting like 2-1, 2-2, I would be willing to do it.
And here's why. 2 reasons. One, it's still early. He's going to produce and on the stat lines probably be a running back 1 over the next 4 weeks.
Increase that team's chances of doing better.
And as we know, we were very blessed this week. We only lost one player. We lost George Kittle, and not even for the year. He's on IR. He'll probably be back after 4 weeks. But we were blessed with no injuries. We know, we've been doing this podcast for 12 years now. It's a bloodbath out there. We'll be losing players, especially at running back. People are going to need running back help. I'm going to hold Travis Etienne, and I at some point when Travis Etienne's running back 8 on the year after 4 weeks, and I don't want to jinx anybody. But say Isaiah Pacheco is doing really good, right? Isaiah Pacheco hurts his knee.
You're reverse jinxing.
I don't want to say
I'm
these
not
guys.
going to jinx anybody, but I hate
Isaiah Pacheco.
Leonard Fournette goes down.
Okay.
You have
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson's days are so... Dude,
don't even go to tangent.
The moment he goes back.
It's Stan Etienne.
You'll be able to get a late first for Travis Etienne. I'm telling you, you will be able to. Because right now, what's
the big difference of 2-1, 2-2 if you think you can get it today versus
hoping
to get 111, 112?
Because it's not even guaranteed to be 2-1, first of all. But first of all, I don't love this draft class. And honestly, when I ask for that first, I'm not asking for the 26th first. I'm asking for the 27th first anyways, because that guy's a contender. I want to go the year ahead when there's a chance not to. I'm not giving away. All running backs live in short-term windows. Remember that. All. So if Travis Etienne is going to be a running back 1 this year or a top 18 running back, then I am going to get my worth out of that. I'm not giving a team first of all, if you know it's going to be a high second, it has to be somebody else's team that traded for that second, right? Like a contender has that second and give it to you.
Yeah.
So you're talking a real weird scenario, right?
I mean, seconds get moved all the time. I don't think that's that crazy. But
I agree. Less likely for a team in that situation. But I think you can hold out for Etienne and get that first. And honestly, if he's a top 8 running back, you might be able to get a first and a little bit more on top.
I think you're getting greedy. I would rather get out
contenders
before.
It's too early. It's way too. You're overreacting. And we're also, to be fair, we're on drastic levels here. I believed in Travis Etienne all summer. You did not.
Sure.
So you're trying to get out immediately because you think the whole floor is going to fall out.
Agreed.
I think it's going to be. This is it.
You're fighting over potentially 4 spots in a draft right now.
Right.
And I think to your point, if you didn't like him to begin with, and you were just waiting for anything to come by to get a high,
the window's open.
Take that second and run with it. And if you were a big believer, just wait for a little bit. And because you already believe and you think it's going to continue, wait a little bit because it could go up. And he could have a great potential to be a first, maybe a first plus, depending on the scenario in your league. So we have a clear winner, right? It's him.
Oh, yeah, he's the clear lead.
He's the clear. Yes. Obviously, Tank gone. Yep. Bashal Tutin and LeQuint Allen are the guys that are below him. LeQuint was the one that came in and caught a pass, right?
The interesting thing was LeQuint Allen was in on the very first drive.
That's what I was going to say. Is he the sneaky one or Bashal?
He's definitely the sneaky one because Bashal should be the sneaky one, right? He should be.
We liked his tape, sir. We liked his tape.
We did. I have him as a top 10 guy in Nerd Square. I think he was my 8th running back.
Like LeQuint Allen a lot. I have a lot of shares.
And specifically, where did we love him? In the receiving game. This is a Liam Cohen offense where he came from Bucky Irving and Rashad White. Like this, look, I could be tinfoil hat, like I very well could be, but it's Travis Etienne's last season. So they could re-sign him.
Sure.
But he could easily be gone. And then where does this team go from there? Sure, they could free agents, but it's not a strong draft running back class right now. I think LeQuint Allen could be one of these guys where, hey, we drafted 2 guys at the same position in the same class, and for some reason, the second guy seems to end up superseding him. The fact that he got touches in the game before Bashal Tutin is very, very interesting to me. And it could have been, and we don't know. Travis Etienne, obviously the established veteran, he's been there a long time. But this could have also been like, hey, I'm putting LeQuint Allen in here early on, but we're going to play hot hand. Let's see how guys do. And Travis Etienne was clearly the high end, and hey, we're going to ride this guy the rest of the game. So, look, I don't want to say LeQuint Allen for sure. He's the guy, but like he's a 7th round pick. It could easily go sideways. But if I'm going to do a speculative ad, a speculative trade, a speculative whatever, that's the type of situation and player I'd want to do it for.
Well, you want to zig when everyone else is zagging. Everyone else is going for Bashal Tutin now that Tank Bigsby got sent over to the Falcons. So going after a LeQuint Allen, it's not as cost prohibitive.
Exactly.
I really like LeQuint Allen's tape. If you go back to our rookie profiles, I talked to him a lot, so I love that take. And then another two more things on this before we move on is one, you're right. LeQuint Allen was a 7th round pick. But he was good enough in camp for them to go into the season. And obviously, this changed real quick. Mm-hmm. But they went into the season with 4 running backs on their roster. Mm-hmm. They carried 4 into week 1. Obviously, they had a plan here. They got rid of, they wanted to see if Etienne was it, and they get rid of Tank Bigsby. But all these people were talking about Tank Bigsby. And I was like, dude,
and they waited for one injury to happen. And it was like, all right, see you, Tank.
Well, I think we see what they did because he was getting more run in preseason early on before. Like all the signs were pointing to Tank Bigsby, but what they were doing is they were showcasing him for a trade as opposed to saying that this is the guy that we believe in. So
and that tells you something about Tank Bigsby as well. And going back on you, like we're quandering over those 4 picks. I'm a big believer in every slot matters when it comes to rookie drafts. And you're right. The difference between 2-1 and like 1-9, that's the difference between having Jaydon Higgins on your roster and Tyler Warren.
No,
right?
It is.
So it's a draft. To me, those are like, it's subtle, but at the same time, it's drastically different. So like, if I can get up just 2 more slots, that's a massive win for me.
But the bottom could fall out if like you say,
for sure,
it's a bloodbath. What if he's the guy that gets injured, right? And then you get nothing?
But like, I say this very conscientious of knowing that, right? Like I know when to like, okay, I'm gonna push it. This could be risky, but like I'm going. It's like same thing. Like you're spinning wheel on Price is Right. You know, you're like you got 80 cents. You know, like and something like I might have to spin it again. You know, like I don't know. Like I gotta get risky.
Yeah, you're the guy that hits on 17 and
I don't play blackjack, but I wouldn't be afraid to.
Yeah.
It depends.
Same kind of thing.
Well, same thing. Yeah. The example, the dealer is showing 10. You got a 7. You're like, man, or like, I got a hit. Yeah, I don't play blackjack, so I don't really know.
This analogy does not work.
But like, I believe in Etienne enough where like I'm willing to push it, and I'm not even saying push it all year, but I'm saying I think once
you want to push it to a point where you can get it first.
Yeah, I think injuries are start coming. I think I feel very good about that window presenting itself. It's a better way to say it.
All right. Let's move on to the New England Patriots here. This was obviously TreVeyon Henderson, a guy we like a lot in this class. Definitely a timeshare in week 1, but TreVeyon showed well. So overall, encouraged? Is he the clear leader at this point? Or is it like, oh, this is going to be a little bit of a timeshare for a while and we'll see what happens?
It's kind of hard to call him the clear leader when Ramondre Stevenson got the most run. But dang, am I encouraged by how many targets Trevian Henderson had.
Total touches, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Trevian had 6 targets on his total. Like, I think he saw he was on the backfield like a little slightly under 40% back there as well. But the target share was there. This is a clear. Hey, Ramondre, here's you're paid. You're our guy. You're starting the year. It's gonna by week. It's a classic Bucky Irvin, Rashad White.
Yep.
By week 5, Trevian's the guy here. He's still gonna get some carries behind
Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Like all of those. Yep, absolutely.
So I can't say it's clear now because Ramondre was the guy. Ish. But to me, I'm all in on Trevian.
It's clear. Yeah, it's clear as day that Trevian is the guy, and it's just a matter of time. So I think that's what you're saying.
Yes.
Is there a sneaky person here?
No, I think this is probably one of the most open and shut. It's, hey, give it 2 or 3 more weeks, and then there's going to be more like a 60, 65, 70%
agreed
on the Trevian side. So I think it's just buying our time. They're being respectful of the veteran, but it's going to trend in that direction.
Very much so.
All right. You want to tell us about our friends over at FastDraft?
Oh, no, I have to do it again?
Well, I can do it.
You're being so selfish.
You want me to do it?
I do.
All right. I'll do it.
I was reading something else. That's why.
All right. Hey.
Another show, bro. Come on. Help me out here.
Hey, that sounds good to me. All right. Hey, Dynasty Nerds, want to turn your Sunday film study into instant cash? FastDraft's revolutionary in-season contests are built for Dynasty players like us. Here's the deal. Draft just 6 position players, no quarterbacks, no kickers. Then apply the captain boosters that multiply points up to 2x. Boosters. That sleeper rookie you discovered in our film room, boost him and watch your profits soar. You can choose between the Quick 6 Super Slam or the Flex 6 Frenzy Tournament with guaranteed prize pools. First place takes 30%. That's a $300 profit on a single $5 entry. This is where Dynasty Nerds dominates. While others chase last week's stats, you have our rookie nerd scores, exclusive film breakdowns, and GM insights showing exactly about with who's about to stand out. Use promo code NERDS, and FastDraft matches your deposit up to $100. That's right, up to $100. They will match it. But there's more. If you use the code, you get everything we have at Dynasty Nerds. That's a $70 value of premium tools, absolutely free. And if you're already a member, we will get you a t-shirt or at least $25 to the film room or to the merch store in order to get yourself some sweet gear. So use promo code NERDS at FastDraft today.
Next up on the list here is the Jets.
The Jets. Penny and the Jets.
There is a very clear number 1 running back. And I know I went into this I was like, man, I'm hesitant just because of how much they're talking about.
They hyped it.
Braylon Allen. Same thing we saw last year, and I saw the same exact thing here too. Braylon Allen did not look good, and Breece Hall looked unbelievable.
He's back.
Man. Like, he is so back, man. He averaged, what did he have? He had 5 forced missed tackles.
5.6 yards per carry.
5.63.
Oh,
don't short my man here. He looked explosive. He looked dynamic again. He had almost 70% of the total backfield out there. He had almost a 20% target share as well in the passing game, which was what we know and what we love. And we were kind of worried about Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin
in that role
Fields getting him 4 targets. If he can live at 4 targets a game, I'm totally good with that.
Yeah, Breece looked like the old Breece, where it just, and we said this
that's the most
a year
important
removed.
thing, right? I mean, he looked like himself again.
And it was crazy how well this offense did with there's very limited weapons on this offense. The one thing that looked like it was better was the offensive line. And then right before the season, Vera Tucker gets hurt. They're all world guard. And you're like, man, that's just more bad news. Nope. They looked like this offense was humming. What do they have? 32 points? Yeah. Well, they lost 32, 33, I think.
Some 31 or 32.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Either way, over 30 points. And you're right, Breece Hall was a key cog in that. Obviously, Justin Fields played super well as well. But Breece Hall looked like his old self, and I think this is another one kind of similar to New England. I don't feel like there's a lot to talk about. I don't feel like there's a sneaky player. I think we have a clear guy that we feel pretty confident in.
21 touches, 145 scrimmage yards for Breece. Absolutely dynamic. We'll see how the red zone goes because they did split work inside the red zone, him and Braylon Allen. And it makes sense because Braylon Allen's a big bruise in back.
And Allen got the touchdown.
Yeah, he stole the touchdown, little bitch ass touchdown stealer. With his slowness. I don't like that. But,
Speaking of clip that one.
And I'm telling you, man, like I'm still excited for Breece Hall because I think Breece Hall still has a very bad taste in his mouth, how the coaching staff talked about him and presented themselves to him. We saw like the way Aaron Rodgers came out and said how they kind of dealt with him, like how this could possibly be coming off for Breece Hall. He's put tweets out and stuff like along those lines too, like he wasn't happy.
Yeah, we thought he was going to get traded in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a player too, man. If things start to go sideways for the Jets, like we talked about the Chiefs that need a playmaker at running back. If the Chiefs give up a second round pick for a guy like Breece Hall, look out,
he's in a contract year. They might not even have to give a second, right? Isn't he in a contract
You're
year?
right. It could be less. But anyways, I've always loved Breece Hall, and I was legit worried because he looks like he lost some explosiveness last year. Mm-hmm. I said on the show, like, hey, summer backs just need a year. Now everybody comes back and like after year one is just a guy. But I was like, I am somewhat concerned with the explosiveness and the usage. All of it wiped away.
Yeah.
Breece to me is one of the best running backs in the NFL, in my opinion, and I'm unbelievably excited. You're right. He's a clear cut guy.
And how old is he?
25, I believe.
24.
He's only 24.
Yeah.
That's what it says here on our page.
Look at that. Well, yeah, it does. Look at that. I even clipped it, and I should know. Let's move to Pittsburgh. Same game. Another backfield that's a little bit messy. And if you listen to yesterday's show, our number one faller from week one, Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson only got one attempt on the game. Now, I don't care. Like
only played 2 snaps.
Yeah, it was. I knew that obviously we were going to have some involvement from Jaylen Warren, who they just gave a new contract to, and they signed Kenneth Gainwell. Like, look, none of us were super high on Caleb Johnson coming into the process, but after he went to Pittsburgh and all of that, I was like, it's a good fit. Like, I kind of got pulled back in a little bit on Caleb Johnson, even though I was lower on him as a prospect than the rest of the community. And look, he's not dead. It's one game. I do think eventually he's more involved, but you don't love seeing that week one.
No, I feel like this is a veteran coach making a guy earn it a little bit, don't you?
Probably. Don't forget who the offensive coordinator is.
Yeah,
Arthur Smith.
Mr. Willy Wonka Jr. himself.
Mr. Willy Wonka. He's never going to get his most talented guys involved. He's going to try to win with the Oompa
Hey, Johnny Smith's there, baby.
I bet that mustache smells.
Get him that tutty.
I bet you that mustache does smell funny.
I'm never going to sit here and try and predict what Arthur Smith is going to do at the running back position with his offense because
agreed.
I have no idea.
I mean, what is Kenneth Gainwell getting?
7 carries, 4 targets.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on.
Jaylen Warren, 11 carries, 2 targets. Kenneth Gainwell, 7 carries, 4 targets, 2 snaps for Caleb Johnson. You think at the very most, like, in the red zone, like Caleb Johnson's a bigger young running back. They're going to use him there. No, Jaylen Warren there too.
Listen, Jaylen Warren he can operate between the tackles. He's fine in those kind of situations. I don't understand the Kenneth Gainwell usage.
I don't get it either.
What I don't get.
I think it's going to be a slow burn, and you're going to have to be very patient. I'd be patient enough where, like, if we're with Arthur Smith, this is very possible. We look what the guy did with Bijan. I think week 4-ish, 5, like Caleb Johnson might be a good value buy.
I would be willing to buy him, especially if that price dips where you're just given kind of a random 26-second because his draft capital was fluctuating between the very end of the first and the very beginning of the second.
Yeah.
So if I just have to give a random 26-second.
So is there a clear leader? No to the first question, which makes the second question invalid.
Right.
And the third question, there's not a sneaky guy because the guy that
it's kind of obvious.
It's Caleb Johnson is the guy
right.
that you want to go out and get, but he's not sneaky and you're not going to be able to get him cheap.
I'm staying very clear of the Pittsburgh running back situation until I
can get Caleb cheap.
Sure.
Yeah, and there's a clear cut guy.
Yeah.
I feel just like this. How I feel about I feel slightly better than Kansas City, but I think it's in the same mold of Kansas City. Like if I'm starting one of those running backs,
something went sideways.
I'm really shooting for the 1-1-1-2
right.
like running back in next year's draft.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's move on to Washington. Washington, it started off with Austin Eckler getting a lot of love, but our boy Bill, he came in and kind of stole the show a little bit there. 10 carries, 82 yards, and he got that touchdown as well. Only one target in the receiving game. But we also saw a rushing touchdown from Deebo Samuel. We saw Jeremy McNichols involved. So is it clearly Krosky Merritt or no?
I mean, only 10 carries out of, 32 Jaydon Daniels in there as well.
So, 21, 10 of the 21 running
so he's
back.
getting about 50% of the carries.
And a big 42-yard run, which helped the cause.
Sure. I mean, I think as the year goes on, that grows. So, I think he's going to be the guy carrying the load. Listen, Austin Eckler is what he is, and it's a guy that can catch passes. He can probably handle 7-8 carries a game, and there's 6 or 7 catches a game. But somebody else is going to have to carry the rest of that load. And it looks like, with all the moves that were made, getting rid of Brian Robinson, they feel really good about Bill. And I think it's going to be him going forward. I don't think this week 1 shows it, with the numbers. But Jaydon Daniels is always going to be involved, so he's always going to be a piece of this puzzle. But they're going to need somebody other than him. So, I think Krosky Merritt is a pretty decent guy to go out and get.
I think he's the clear-cut guy here. And if you listen to the last show, what I was going to talk more about this show is I think he's a clear-cut guy. I think he looked really good, kind of like what we talked about when we watched this film and kind of talked him up as one of our last sneaky prospects. So we're like, hey, there's 2 guys here. There's Landon Larison and there's Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt.
Which, by the way, I have a lot of 6th-round picks in the Origins tournament on FastDraft. A lot of these 2 guys because they were unheard of and cheap and free, and so I'm definitely happy about that. On
and I'm in the same boat. I have a lot of Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt shares, a lot, because he's a player I liked a lot on tape.
2 to 3 year window.
2 to 3 year window, and this is what I'm saying.
Maybe even less.
He showed good burst.
1 to 2 year.
He forced 2 missed tackles in that game as well. He had that big 42-yard run. But Austin Eckler is a pass catcher running back, and here's why I'm saying I'm using this window where he's all the talk, and this is a player I like.
Yeah,
I'm selling Bill Krosky Merritt.
Yep.
I think you spent a 5th-round pick on him. You could easily get a 2nd right now, easily. And the thing is, he's going to kind of play like he's going to be Brian Robinson. That's what he's going to be. And Brian Robinson was a fine running back, and I think Ja'Cory Krosky Bill is a fine running back too. But I think from a consistent fantasy football perspective, the juice isn't there. Because unless like Austin Eckler goes down, they want to utilize him in the passing game, he's not going to get enough run to make himself worth the hype.
He needs 150 yards rushing or a touchdown to be relevant.
Yeah. And you mentioned you have a rushing quarterback in the red zone. A guy like Jaydon Daniels could take that away. Austin Eckler could take that away. So there's 3 other options there. I like the player. I think he's a very fine player. I loved him as my 5th-round pick in my rookie drafts. But I draft guys like that for moments like this. If I can take him and turn him into a 2nd, I am doing that right away, and I think it's a very feasible thing. Now, again, I'm going to flip the script here a little bit as well, Garrett. If I drafted him and I'm a contender,
you keep him.
And I need a running back, I am keeping him.
It's a great 3rd running back to have.
As a 3rd running back. But if he's say you drafted in the 5th because you heard our podcast and you liked him and you took him in the 5th and he's your 4th running back, you got to get the 2nd-round pick. You got to get the 2nd. Those are major wins because now all of a sudden you have 2 seconds. That maybe they'll turn into a 1st, or hey, now you can turn those 2 seconds into a 27 first.
It's like same thing we've done with guys before, like Tyrone Tracy. We like him, and then we get the value. James Robinson, we like him, and then we get the value. Like you got to
James Robinson. I was a hater all the way through. I was right.
But I mean, he was a
Nerds.
RB1. He was an RB1. So.
Still said, sell him. Please sell him as quick as possible. This was not last. People yelled at me so hard, so hard.
Regardless, all that being said,
I only talk about my wins.
Anyway,
W's.
But these are the kind of guys where you capitalize on the value, And look, you can get greedy and try to get more, and sometimes it works, and that's great. But especially with low draft capital, guys, it's good to capitalize while the iron's hot and then move on. There'll be once in a while that, an Austin Eckler does hit, and you're like, well, I could have gotten more if I would have waited longer. But overall, 80 to 90% of the time on those kind of guys, you're profiting.
Yeah, and to go a little bit more extent on the trade here. One, you don't do this right away because I think he is the main guy. So I think he's gonna hold value here. Probably more of a finish right around probably running back 25, right around there kind of finish. But
unless he goes bonkers with touchdowns,
and he's in a high profile offense too. So that's what could help. More so where I say I take the second, I would. But man, if this hype train, if I get another, here's where it's like, okay, if I get a second today, I'd probably do that. But selfish Rich trying to get the most out of it. What I like to do is if I'm going out for another weekend, let's get a little. Everybody's talking about Bill, right?
Yep.
No, I don't think it'd be if I can't get a first, yeah. But I think he's the perfect player. Hey, here's Bill and my second. I want your first.
Yeah.
That's the move I'm looking to try and do.
So one of my shares, I just recently made a trade. Now it was right before the game, so right after the game, I might have been able to get a little bit more, but I'm still happy with it. Turned out the guy said, "Hey, you're a contending team. I'll leave it up to you. You can have a second and a third, or you can have Calvin Ridley in a third." I'm a contending team, so I ended up taking Calvin Ridley. I see him kind of as worth the second, and so I'm happy with that. I got basically a second and third value. Could he end up being worth more later? Sure. But I got him for free. I literally picked him up off waivers after the draft and turned him into a second and a third value. So
let's say he's great move, by the way. I don't know. It just popped in my head. Let's say he has another 2 or 3 weeks and he scores 2 more touchdowns. It does pretty well. What on top of him would you have to give up to get a guy like Bucky Irving?
A first and a second at minimum.
First and a second, and him after
him. Yeah,
okay.
You think so?
I feel like that's too much. I feel like
because at that point if he does it for a couple more weeks, he's close to worth the first. I don't think you're giving 2 firsts and a second for Bucky.
And then see, it's weird because it's I can look at it from my perspective. I'm like, oh, dude, you have to give me at least a first and a second for Bucky because Bucky's numbers weren't great, but dude, statistically, Bucky Irving went from being an elite running back where he was running back 9 overall when he got in there before, and he was doing it for a 60% share. He was at 80% share week 1. It's statistically, he didn't put up big numbers, but his on the field usage was very exciting. So, I don't know. For me, the giveaway of Bucky, I'm not interested in. I would look beyond the numbers. Hey, he's not a pass catcher running back. Yeah. That's a difference. You got to be careful. You need those touchdowns to get where you at. You're right, because that pushes them up, right?
And that's what I'm saying. He has weeks where it's
two more weeks of very similar as this.
It's masked. You know what I mean? The fact that he's so heavily reliant on the touchdowns, it's kind of masked because he's getting them.
And you're right. I think a lot of dynasty players are listen. A lot of dynasty players are casual players that are hardcore fantasy players, right? They love fantasy football. They're hardcore, but they don't deep dive into dynasty like maybe a lot of our listeners do. So they can look at numbers and see that he's a starter, he's a good guy, and they can go out there and overvalue him. But we know if you're not a pass catching running back, unless your name is Derrick Henry, unless your name is Adrian Peterson, unless your name is Nick Chubb, right? Yeah. Those guys aren't.
Derrick Henry tossing dudes they're like ragdolls. By the way,
he's a man amongst boys, man.
Insane.
He's a Hall of Fame running back, and God bless him. He's stunningly beautiful. But for me, guys, unfortunately, the Brian Robinson or the James Robinson or the Bill Krosky Merritts are very fine NFL players, but probably not the best long-term dynasty assets, or more importantly, the guys that you can put in there that are championship caliber players long-term. Maybe even you might get one good year of them because of how many touches they get. So for me, but you're right. Maybe for the casual player, you can approach them. Hey, I'll give you my first and Bill Merritt. And they'll look at Bucky Irving wow, they're only 3 running backs apart. Bucky Irving's running back 9 and Bill's running back 14. And I'm getting a first. I'll take that all day. That'd be a massive win. For me, I would just instantly reject it. Dude, it's not getting it done for me.
Hey, Nerd Herd, want to tell you about a show that we've been doing live on YouTube where we go over your teams. And we talk about how to fix your broken roster. It's called Roster Rescue. We do it live every single Monday at noon Eastern time. And if you want to get a part of that, just head to our Dynasty Nerds homepage, go under the store tab, and you'll find Roster Rescue right there. Perfect opportunity to get your rosters in shape before the season or even in the middle of the season to make sure that you can win a championship.
Let's move to Denver, which kind of went exactly like I thought with one weird exception. So we have J.K. Dobbins. He was the leader of the pack, 16 attempts, 63 yards, got the touchdown, 2 targets, 5 yards on it. That's kind of what I expected.
Yep.
RJ Harvey sprinkled in, has an opportunity for some big plays. Kind of like what I expected. 6 carries, 70 yards. You never project a 50-yarder, but great run. The part that got weird was Tyler Beatty.
Let's get weird, dude.
He's like, hey, let's throw this guy in here.
Let's do it.
No attempts, but 6 targets in the receiving game, which made an already like tricky situation to start either one of these guys harder.
Is it though? I feel like this is a good sign for a guy like RJ Harvey. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I think this is great. Like once he gets straightened out and learns how to pass protect, not only is he going to have these 6 carries and this explosive kind of runs and all that kind of stuff before he eventually takes over completely, but he'll also have these 6 receptions and targets going on and all that kind of stuff as well.
Man, I agree 100%. And listen, J.K. Dobbins is not dead in the water, even when I think the script is going to flip. I do. J.K. Dobbins will still, and I said this before, I think he's still going to be, I thought R.J. Harvey was going to be viable, even with J.K. Dobbins as the main guy, if he can hold him off. That was like my bold prediction part of it.
Yeah.
But we all know, like, I've been talking about R.J. Harvey since the NFL draft.
He's been your boy.
Until J.K. Dobbins came there, I think he's going to be a top 6 fantasy football running back. But you're right, Matt. Everything looked fantastic for Harvey. And you're right. The PPR game with his explosiveness, his elusiveness is where he's going to live. And we saw, it wasn't on the stat sheet, but at the same time, J.K. Dobbins had, he ran 8 routes. R.J. Harvey ran 11 routes compared to there as well. So,
how many did Beatty run?
I don't know how many he ran.
It was just such a weird addition.
It is so weird.
I'm like, why are we doing this? Like,
yeah, I mean, Beatty was heavily involved in the pass catch and roll here, but I mean, RJ Harvey absolutely looked dynamic. Now, that being fair, J.K. Dobbins was the guy. Like, he was the clear cut starting running back in here. Looked good on his touchdown runs when he broke free.
Yep.
High stepped into the end zone. J.K. looked good, and let's be honest. J.K. Dobbins is a good running back.
We've been saying it for years.
He's not a jag. He's a good running back.
Could have been great if it hadn't been for all the injuries.
So that being said, this will be a script that changes. If there's any dip on, like, I think what Matt said, like, this gets me super excited about RJ Harvey. If there's any dip on RJ Harvey to go out there. And I actually bought RJ Harvey right before the season started. I gave up a 27 first and a 27 second and a 26 third.
And I know how you feel about the 27 class, so I'm surprised.
I didn't just get that. I gave up a 27 first, a 26 second, a 27 third, and a 26 fourth. I got RJ Harvey and Dylan Sampson.
Okay.
I have, to be fair on that roster too, I like both players. You know how much I love Dylan Sampson, and I know because we're not talking about the Cleveland backfield. Again, we talked about it yesterday show. I love Dylan Sampson's usage in the offense in the
receiving
one.
game. Yeah.
I don't think that changes with Quinshon Judkins. And I think he holds flex potential with running back 2 potential.
You know what?
Quinshon Judkins and J.K. Dobbins on that.
You know what? I think this is going to look strangely similar to, like, the Cleveland backfield. I think it's going to look strangely similar to what we saw in L.A. with Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler when they were playing together. Yeah. I think that's going to look really similar to that with Quinshon and Dylan Sampson.
Beatty ran 11 routes as well. So 11 for Beatty, 8 for
such
Dobbins,
a weird addition.
11 for
we'll see. Hopefully
RJ.
for all involved that goes away.
Right.
Yeah, big. Do that 50-yard run. Pretty. He looked very shifty out there, RJ Harvey.
Well, let's go from something that was pretty to something that was much less pretty. Kenneth Walker, a guy that most people had bordering on an RB1, especially with how the offensive coaches were hyping him up and the head coaches were hyping him up, he actually didn't even lead the team in rush attempts, surprisingly, and wasn't super great in his opportunities either. 10 carries, only 20 yards. Now, he did get 3 targets, which is a little bit encouraging.
Charbonnet got none.
But Charbonnet led the way with 12 attempts, 47 yards, and he did get the goal line score. So this is now they were the only two to touch the ball as far as running backs go. But this is a mess.
This makes my George Hulani.
Oh my God.
It makes my bold prediction look so much better. Look at the Zach Charbonnet's lethargic ass getting 3.9 yards per carry, and then all of a sudden Kenneth Walker's going to stink. George Hulani, jump on the train. Everyone get on. There's plenty of room. No one's on it yet.
There's all the room.
There's plenty of room.
Come on, jump on.
Also known as all the room. I'm just the conductor. No one in the car.
Come on, baby. I was Garrett asked me, Matt, on Monday's show. He's like, "What player was like scared you? What's the biggest red alert of the week?" And I said it was Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, dude, 2 yards a carry. It's
and
terrible.
But then I told him, we talked about that during the roster rescue show, and then we did a show later in the day, and I told Garrett, I was like, you know what? I was like, earlier today, you asked me who was the biggest red flag, the thing that disgusted me the most, and it was Kenneth Walker. And then I had a couple hours to think about that in between shows. We had an hour and a half between shows, and I was like, man, I was kind of thinking about the show we did, getting ready for the new show, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to sugarcoat. It was bad, for sure. But I was like, what if this scenario is Kenneth Walker was hurt throughout the preseason, right?
Shocker.
And then he came back like the week before. We got super excited. And like, what if this was just them saying he's not 100%? We're going to ease him back in. Because you're right. I'm glad you mentioned the Zach Charbonnet. People are going to be talking about Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet did not look good in his opportunities as well. Kenneth Walker didn't either. But like, what if they're just playing it safe? Because like, I couldn't get over like how much they talked in like the summer about how they're going to run this offense through Kenneth Walker by name. Right? Historically, when Kenneth Walker is healthy, he gets 80% of the touches and Charbonnet gets 20%, somewhere right around that range. And this was like literally a 50-50 split. I was a little encouraged about Kenneth Walker getting the targets and Charbonnet not, though. But I said, what I'm hoping here, being an optimist, is Kenneth Walker, they just really want to be very cautious with him because he is hurt all the time.
Right.
Coming off that injury. Hey, week 1, we have Charbonnet. Let's go ahead and just make this a 50-50 split. And I'm hoping that's it. But man, that was not good whatsoever because you're right. On the carry, the only one big drive they had was when Charbonnet was in. Also, the field goal they got was when Charbonnet was in. When Kenneth Walker was in, it's essentially 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, over and over again. So it was not pretty whatsoever. The snap count was not pretty. Charbonnet led that pretty drastically. I think not even from a touch standpoint, they're pretty even, but from a snap count, it was Charbonnet was at like 60% and Walker was at 40%. So for me, I'm drastically worried. But again, how we started yesterday's show, I'm not going to go crazy yet, but this is definitely one of the biggest red flags out there. Let's hope, as Kenneth Walker sharehavers, owners, possessors,
sharehavers, it's getting late.
Yeah, that this was just a very precautionary thing. Like we're waving yellow flags.
Sharehaver.
We're sharehavers.
That's fantastic.
Havers of shares.
I don't know why that one made me giggle.
All right, let's go to this one. Another situation that there's not much to feel good about, but there could be some sneakiness here. The Houston Texans. Nick Chubb, not the same guy he used to be. Put together a decent game for NFL standards, but for fantasy points, it was 13 attempts, 60 yards, no touchdowns, no receptions. So that's 6 points. That's my quick math there.
The offensive line looks terrible, dude.
That whole offense looks bad.
Yeah.
Like they had 3 field goals in the entire game. So it was not a good game for Houston overall. Nick Chubb did lead the way. You had Dare.
Ogunbowale.
Yes, thank you. Damian Pierce, Woody Marks, all of these guys got involved. None of them did anything really. I don't know. Like, is there any redemption for this season? Period.
For who?
Yes.
I'm only interested in Nick Chubb on volume. The sneaky guy here is the guy they trade up and gave a 3rd round pick next year is Woody Marks. That's where the value is. But again, I think this team, this offensive line is so bad. There's no upside here. I hope for the last 18 months, we all have been on this podcast saying CJ Stroud is the most overvalued he's the most overvalued quarterback in Dynasty ADP. ADP is slowly starting catching up, but like if you did that from day one when he was QB3
and player 3 off the board.
Yeah, if you listen to us then when we said, hey, he's player 3 on the board, you have to sell. Hopefully you were a big winner because that is going to even take another step back. That offensive line is so bad. It's not going to be fair to CJ Stroud.
Right.
And it's damn sure ain't going to be fair to these running backs. Certainly not an old Nick Chubb who's coming off 2 disastrous knee injuries, who is one of my literally all-time favorite NFL players.
Yep.
Nicholas Jamal Chubb. And honestly, he did for what he was able to deal with, he was fine. Like
he was fine. That's why I said from an NFL standpoint,
he was not the problem.
That's fine. But fantasy-wise, if he's not getting any passing work,
which he won't. The sneaky guy here is
Woody Marks.
It's going to be Woody Marks.
Have we gotten a timeline for Joe Mixon's return?
That's the hardest part about this. It was
still nothing.
Rumblings in the preseason, and then like a week and a half before the season, they're like, "Hey, he's going to miss at least 4 weeks."
Rumblings are he's not going to play all.
But yeah, there's a rumor that he might not play
ever again.
So that bad, huh?
That bad.
I did not hear that rumbling. I'm glad you guys mentioned that.
I'm so glad in our Smash Mouth League I traded him and Nick Chubb for 27 first.
Yes, you did.
Like in the summer.
It was before all this stuff with with
before his foot was hurt. I got 27 first.
So sometimes those just work out.
Yeah,
but when you're on the opposite end of those ones hurt.
Yes. Dude, when you give up like, I just got Andrew Luck for a first and a third.
I literally did that. I literally did that.
It's the worst. It is. It's a true gut punch.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to retire.
I remember that. About my guys, Garrett's like, he retires all of a sudden. I was like, Garrett's like, dude, I just traded. I literally just traded a big trade. I gave him a haul for him.
I did. It was like a massive deal where like there was like 3 players on each side, but like he was the key.
I remember that
piece of it.
I do recall that
Garrett.
as well. Yeah.
Giving up like Lev Bell and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, to be fair, Lev Bell didn't do anything either.
He did not do much after that.
All right, what's the next team?
All right, last one for us here before we get out of here. Minnesota Vikings. This is something that we talked about a little bit, the possibility, and it kind of came true. Now, I do think this was also a little bit of a hot hand approach, which I think is going to continue all season. But Jordan Mason ended up actually getting the bulk of the rushing attempts. And we really saw that down the stretch when they were playing really well. 15 attempts, 68 yards. He looked like the better actual running back. However, Aaron Jones says, hey, my value's never been purely as a runner in my 8 carries and 23 yards. It's been as a receiver, 3 targets, 3 receptions, 44 yards, and the touchdown that cost me a win this week.
And I would say this. That touchdown he made, he might as well have been a receiver.
Oh, yeah, he looked great.
Over the shoulders, looked a beauty. Drew a pass interference call, too. Did a really good job in the receiving game. That, as a runner, though, he did not look good.
He didn't. Jordan Mason clearly looked like the better running back.
2.9 yards per carry. Jordan Mason came in, looked explosive and powerful.
Yes.
And they did ride that train the second half. I think Jordan Mason's going to find his way into the started role here pretty soon.
I actually made a video this summer, and maybe we'll cut it up at some point. But that was one of my big ones of guys that ADP wise was just like way too low because of what the potential was on a season where Aaron Jones had the most touches of his entire career. And then they go out of nowhere and trade a 5th round pick before the draft,
right?
Where they could have just drafted a guy in the 5th round to say, no, we like Jordan Mason. It seemed like something was there. And then you looked kind of behind all the metrics. He was actually a really efficient player for the 49ers last year. So he was a guy that I kind of sneakily had on a few teams. And like I said, I talked about him in a video, and it looks like it's trending that direction.
And they traded for him and extended him with a 2-year deal as well. They gave him a pay raise there as well.
Yeah,
So
all great points. I don't have anything to add. I think Mason is going to be the guy. So,
yeah. There's no sneakiness here.
No.
Aaron Jones, though, if somebody's like, I'm done, I'm out, are you willing to give anything for him? Or
he's 31, I think 32, somewhere in there.
Yeah, 31.
Yeah, I'd give a third.
Okay.
Like just
agreed.
If I need a running back help, he's still
just for depth on bye weeks or something.
And listen, he still looked good in the passing game. And those guys always. I honestly would prefer Jordan Mason is the first and second down running back, and they bring Aaron Jones in. He has a more defined role as a pass catcher running back. Can still get some carries, keep him fresh, keep him healthy there, and utilize his strengths. That holds value. If Aaron Jones can catch 4 footballs for 60 yards. That holds value for me for
Absolutely.
a 3rd-round pick for an emergency, a flex, a bye week filler,
Get a touchdown in there every once in a while, and now you're rolling.
16 points, yeah, 100%. So I'd still pay a third. I mean, remember Aaron Jones come off career highs last year at 30, so like he looked really good. This is just week 1. He could have had a bad week, there as well. So I'd pay a third for Aaron Jones. But that's as high as I would go.
Jones or Eckler? I feel like they're kind of in the same spot in their career.
Pretty similar, yeah. And they even have like a young
running back in front of them that's going to take a lot of the between the tackles.
Yeah. I would lean Jones.
I would lean Jones also.
Okay. I think
is it close?
Very close. Very similar.
I think the only reason I would lean Jones is if something happens to Jacory or Bill Krosky-Merritt. I'm not confident that he'll do enough between the tackles. Whereas if something happens to Mason, I think Aaron Jones could still do enough between the tackles.
He's a clear guy where Austin
Agreed.
Eckler wouldn't be the clear guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably bringing in Tyler Beatty,
Yeah. All right. That wraps it up.
All right. We'll be back next week with more Dynasty. But remember, we have expanded our programming. We have brought in new hosts, new content creators. Jagger May, Andrew Mott have joined the team. You will be hearing a lot more of them on our podcast feeds. We're just offering new shows, new topics. The Monday show will be,
risers and fallers, of
winners and losers of the week.
Yep.
Essentially on Mondays to kind of give you that
name not solidified yet. Kind of.
We literally talked today. We're like, it is risers and fallers, but we might change it to winners and losers.
So like Monday show, you're gonna get that instant react. We'll probably talk some injuries, things on those lines. Tuesday, you didn't have a show come out this week on Tuesday, but Garrett does a YouTube video every week with Andrew Mott. We've decided we're probably gonna put that in a short podcast form, which is only be a 30-minute podcast. Wednesdays and Thursdays, you get the 12 years, how it's been coming for you for 12 straight years, the flagship show, where the only time you'll get a taste of Matt O'Hara is on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then Friday, we'll have the Talking Dynasty show, where we're talking college rookie prospects every Friday with Garrett, Jared Wackerly, Andrew Mott, and Jagger May. Tune in all week long. We are going to walk you through this Dynasty Fantasy Football season. We've got 17 more weeks to go of it. And hopefully at the end of it, our teams will be significantly better, whether it's holding championship caliber championship trophies or we're set up for the future. Remember, even when you're losing, you're winning in Dynasty Fantasy Football. And we're going to get you there all the way through the end of the season.
Sounds great. Adios.